Welcome to One Brooklyn, presented by Brooklyn Borough President Eric L. Adams. On this edition of One Brooklyn, Brooklyn Borough President Adams visits IS 78 to announce and distribute his educational capital budget for Brooklyn schools. Dozens of schools took part in the press conference in Mill Basin.
I don't think that people really understand the significance of education. And those of you who are educators, even when I was a state senator, I would move around and I was just amazed at how much you bring your A game every day to the classroom. And once we arrived at Borough Hall, my dedication and commitment to what you do is so important. And your occupation is just such a noble occupation. You know, I don't know a parent who is not elated when their child come home and tell them their spouse is going to be an educator. No one gets excited when they say their spouse is going to be a borough president, you know. It's just that what you do for these children is just remarkable, and you're not getting the support you need. But in spite of the lack of support from government on the federal, the state, and even the city level, you still just continue to produce. And so I just want to make sure my 4-year run in Borough Hall that I did my job as the borough president. Today we're going to announce $55 million we're going to put into our public school system. Over my 4-year run, we put $95 million into our school system. And it's just important that don't just talk about your priorities. Where you put your money matters, and we have to get these scholars ready to compete, not only in Brownsville but in Budapest, not only in Manhattan but in Manchester. These are global scholars, and they have the capacity to lead the globe in the direction that we wanted to go into. But we have to give them what they need to do so. And some of these projects that we're doing is just remarkable, and I cannot do it without my partners. I sit down with the city council, men and women, every year and say, how do we do this? You know, what schools we need to put money into, what are some of the projects? And I'm big on tech. You know, it's about technology for me. You know, the technology is what these children need to be competitive. And Alan and Hyam they have been amazing partners on identifying location. We got a great project that Alan is going to talk about. I'm excited about this project we're doing with the farm here in this area. Many of you know I'm big on this health thing, and this is the next level that we must do. We cannot continue to feed our children poison every morning. What they're eating. Food is killing our children, and you know, my reversal of diabetes by using food really just opened my mind to how do we feed our children food that the WHO stated is a carcinogen, but every morning we give them. And milk doesn't do your body good. Milk destroys your body. Processed meat is cancer causing. And these studies of mental health nutrition that shows the food our children eat impacts their mental capacity to absorb information and how they perform in classroom. Go to all of these schools who are starting to be vegetarian diets. You're seeing the attendance go up, behaviors have improved, comprehension of information is improving. We cannot continue to allow the meat and dairy industry to control the productivity of our children. They deserve better, and that is what we're going to do. Meatless Monday that was announced when the mayor was in the city is only the beginning of what we're doing. We are going to initiate a lawsuit if we have to make sure our children receive the quality food they deserve so they can be competitive. Childhood obesities, diabetes, 11 years old heart problems start in children because of the food that they're eating. The junk food, the sugar, the fast food, being bombarded constantly. They can't be competitive. You wonder why they can't sit still in the classroom? Because we pump them up with sugar and poison every morning that they can't be prepared to really be the scholars that they deserve to be. So we're going to push this hard. This is my mission, and I'm going to do all that I can that we can give our children what they need. One of the most disheartening things for me was to learn through this journey that I fed my son the food that gave him asthma and gave him his allergies. No parent wants to do harm to their child, but we're doing harm every day. It needs to be part of our reading. It needs to be part of the education as we start the process of educating our children on a healthy diet. And so I'm excited again. This is our 2018 budget. Bennett, I know Bennett is here somewhere because he always liked writing the check. Bennett has done a great job of looking over the schools that we are allocating money to. 150 schools receive funding through this 2018 cycle, and some of the projects are just really amazing. What you guys have done and ladies have done over this year. Some of the STEM education that we're looking forward to rolling out. And spending the money. Nothing is better than writing these checks. And I want to thank my partners, Council Member Alan Mizell, this is your area, right, Alan?
Mine.
Okay.
Mine.
District Superintendent Julia Bove, IS 78 Principal Anthony Cusamano.
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 No, Cusamano.
Cusamano.
Yeah.
I failed that in school, Thank you for using this, giving us an opportunity. Mike Dancer, Kingsbury Community College. We love what we're doing with the pipeline in the South, creating these pipelines while children can start out in the public school, middle school, and high school to continue their educational experience. My significant other was a former principal. She's still with the Department of Education. And I'm just amazed at, what educators do every day. And I cannot say that enough. I was definitely the teacher's pet. I sat in the first seat, in the first row, in every class that I was in. She had to keep an eye on me because I was one of those children that you would never forget as an educator. And I know all of you have one in your class. That's who I was. And so I want to turn it over to Councilmember Alan Mizell. Is the superintendent here as well?
Yeah.
Come on up.
Superintendent Wilkins from District 18.
Superintendent Wilkins?
Yeah.
Okay, come on up also. Come on, get your picture get your face in the picture. Any more superintendents are here? We have some great superintendents in Brooklyn. Give it up for them. So, Council Member Alan Mizell. Alan?
Okay. Good morning. So thank you, Borough President Adams. But I'm happy to see the superintendents that represent District 22 and 18, which are part of my district. And thank you, Mr. Cusamano, who you are the host. I spent 30 years in education. Most of those years were as a classroom teacher, and I taught science. So I'm a science teacher, and I could very much relate to what Eric Adams has said about health and all the things that we're not doing correctly for our children. And what the Borough President alluded to was a project that I'm working on with the Board of Education, Department of Ed, which is a teaching farm a couple blocks from here on Avenue N and East 72nd Street, which right next to PS 312. And the Borough President and I have partnered in this project. Basically, it's a 2-acre site, maybe about a little bit bigger than the schoolyard. And we're going to teach the kids, first of all, how to grow healthy foods. We're going to have a grove for, I'm not sure what's going to be, what's growable in our climate, maybe apples.
Pumpkins.
Apple. We're going to have a pumpkin grove. We're going to have an outdoor teaching kitchen. Every school that participates, District 18 and District 22, and I think we talked about 19. The adjacent districts will have an opportunity to have classes, basically take a part of the farm to grow their products, what they want to see grown. Kids will have to make a decision. Do you want to grow turnips or lettuce or whatever it is that they would like to grow? And then we will have a harvest, and we envision that the food will go to local food pantries, and the kids are going to learn how to eat properly. And this is, I think, a tremendous project. There are other projects similar to this around the city, but this is going to be the biggest one. So the mayor has recently, it's not official, so don't tell anybody, but I think we've gotten some additional money from Mayor de Blasio, and we need about $5 million to complete the project, but it's not going to be all at once. So I think we're up to about $4 million. So with the next year or two or three, this vision is going to be realized. The other thing I wanted to mention is the fact that what the borough president has done is truly magnificent. You know, we spend a lot of money on education, but if you are in a school, you know that the things that you need for your school are not automatically coming from the Department of Ed. There are extras that are extremely important. For example, smart boards. Of course, when I started teaching, I didn't know what a smart board was. There weren't any smart boards. All this technology, which has come about in the last 10 or 15 years, is extremely expensive, but is necessary for the education of the children for the 21st century. We can't do without it, but the money is not coming from Central. And it does come from elected officials like myself and the borough president, who has a huge commitment for this money. And this enables the schools to do things that they could not do by themselves. So what the borough president has done will have lasting impact way into the future. So there are going to be future scientists, and where are you? There you are. There are going to be future scientists and doctors and health people, and a lot of them will be able to say, if they know who the borough president is, they should know, but if someone is responsible for my education who cared enough to put the money into the schools where I went to, and that's where I got a break and a push, which otherwise wouldn't have happened. So again, thank you, Borough President Adams, and it's wonderful to be able to partner with him.
Thank you. Councilman Deutsch.
Thank you. Well, good morning. It's really it's a beautiful day today, and I'm not really talking about the weather, but it's a beautiful day when you talk about all these resources, millions of dollars that go into our children's education. And as a father and grandfather, I understand the importance of education, and it's great to partner with our borough president to bring all these resources into our community, to improve our schools and to bring in those resources that really tackle those issues that we need for our children. And you know, and really, I had a town hall meeting with the mayor, and a 6-year-old got up to ask a question. She raised her hand. So I called upon her, and she said, "Why are we serving this poison in our schools? Why can't we bring better food, better menus?" And I told her, I looked at her, I said, "You know, that was a great question, and because of your great question, I will be treating you to a steak dinner." And she refused. She says, "No, I only eat healthy." But I'm really honored to be here, partnering with the borough president year after year, and all the great work that he does on behalf of our community and our district schools. And it helps me personally within my district, because when the borough president gives millions of dollars in funding to my schools, then I'm able to give some of my capital funding to our local parks and playgrounds, which is as equally important, because after school, our young adults need a place to go to spend time and not just go out and hang out in the streets, have nothing to do. So using these resources are twofold. They're important for everyone, whether it's before school, during school, or after school. And I'm also proud that I have started this new initiative in my district. So first of all, I want to thank all the educators here for choosing your career. And it's a tough job. And I visit all my schools and I speak in the classrooms. And you know, when you go to school as an educator, how often do you try to look for parking, right? Why does an educator have to go to the school 2 hours earlier, right? You have families of your own. So I'm proud to have started an initiative in my district, and I've so far been successful to expand parking in the districts of my school. For example, Madison High School. I have worked with DOT by personally going down and looking and visiting sites and visiting school locations, and we have transformed from parallel parking to angle parking, putting in over 50 additional parking spaces and increasing parking in that area by over 45%. And this is something I have brought up in the Education Committee, being a member, that we need to check all our schools and have site visits in all our schools to figure out a way to expand parking. Having parking permitted is not enough. That's maybe 4 or 5 spots. we need to expand it for all our educators. And again, it's twofold, because the educators come to school, they have a parking spot, and when they leave, the people who live in that area have a place to park as well. So it's really an honor to partner once again with the Borough President, our great Borough President. I have to tell you that he is our best Borough President here in Brooklyn, and also working together with my colleague in government and serving on the Education Committee with Councilmember Alan Maisel. So thank you all for being here, and thank you.
Thank you. I want to hear from our two superintendents. Say a few words. These are your educators.
Well, good morning, and it is indeed a pleasure to be here this morning, and I want to give gratitude and thanks to our Borough President, President Adams, and to our Council Member Alan Maisel for their continued support of District 18 schools and students, and most of all for their vision and their mission, because excellence and equity for all children at the very core are access, opportunity, and exposure. So I thank you for your support. It's great being here. There's no other profession that I'd rather be attached to than that of an educator. So with that said, again, thank you for all of your support, and thank you for the continued focus on ensuring our children receive an education that is second to none.
Good morning. First, I have to apologize. My voice has been lowered by a few octaves. I had no voice yesterday, so this is actually pretty good. I guess the flu or allergy, something hit. But I do want to thank, of course, Borough President Eric Adams, our elected officials, all of you for really supporting what we believe in District 22 to be such essential goals. We spoke about healthy living. Until it hits home, you really don't know how important it is to really be healthy, and how happy and fortunate and blessed we are when we get up every morning and we have our eyes open and we are healthy. And then, of course, you have to think, how do we remain healthy? And we did say that not only do we have to eat well, we have to remain active. We have to really have our children learn how to make the right choices. The educators in District 22 know that that's one of our biggest goals. And if the parents are out there just hearing, select smart foods, because what we put into our bodies really affects everything. So of course we want smart, intelligent, wise students, but of course a well-rounded student, and all the support that we get from our elected officials to support the arts and to support healthy living, all of that is so appreciated. So once again, on behalf of District 22, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you, educators. I know there's so many familiar faces out there. You are the heroes. Often we hear firemen, police persons. I get that. They are heroes. They really are. But we too, educators, should be among those ranks of heroes. We save lives all around the city. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. So true. So true. We also have Mr. Cranston, who's representing Senator Marty Golden. I saw Assemblywoman Williams here. Did she leave? Okay, she's also one of our partners. And again, just to emphasize, 95% of this year's budget is going to STEM education. That's a substantial amount of money. Doing analysis across the city at where the borough presidents are spending their money, I challenge anyone to come near how much money I put into our educational system. 95%. I know what a terrible education could do after being a police officer for so many years. That's the only common denominator in those who are incarcerated, is the lack of education. The only common denominator. You give a child an education, they will be part of the system of government and not part of the penal system that we see so far too often. And also, Councilman, great job on the parking. Police have parking all the time. If we could have parking for prisoners, we could have it for pupils. And so we need to make sure that our educators have a place to park. So it's good time to give out the checks. Do we have the checks with us? Okay, so we like to take our photo with the checks. So you're going to, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, Principal, sorry, he wasn't standing with us. So let's give it up for our host today, Principal Casamano.
Better the second time.
Cosamano. How's that? Okay.
Cosamano.
Okay. Come on, say a few words, Principal.
Oh, okay.
Is it Co? Cool.
Cosamano.
Cosamano.
I want to thank the Brooklyn Borough President and all of our politicians for being here today, and all of the local school officials and everyone for being here. It's a wonderful thing for everyone. I know it's very far from transit for many people to be in this community, but it's a wonderful community here, and we welcome everyone. And it is, like Superintendent Beauvais said, a big goal of our schools to make sure that the students are provided with healthy foods, but also to make sure that this STEAM initiative is something that's very important to our schools. We actually have engineering here at our school, one of our big pushes in the building. And Michael Danza also has been very integral in the school in pushing 3D printing and all this stuff. And once we're finished with this conference, we'd love for you to see some of the 3D car racing that we have planned. It's a wonderful thing. And we want to thank everyone for being here. We appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. Do we have a rep from Kingsborough that's here? Dan, you the only one?
Only Dan.
Okay, come on up.
Only Dan.
Great stuff.
How are you?
Good to see you.
Everything's good. My apologies, Dr. Fakari was going to try to come. He's the Vice President of Workforce Development. He is preparing to create the internships that will be put on top of the One Brooklyn engineering pipeline, and also workforce development jobs. Some of my engineering students are here now helping us. Stand up, guys. Give everybody a round of applause, please. They're my engineering students in Engineering 21 that I co-teach with Professor Michalopoulos at Kingsborough Community College. He was instrumental, of course, in telling me, Danza, you got this idea for the pipeline, go and do it. Do it with Eric Adams, do it with Stephen Ringel, do it with Bennett Baruch, do it with all the schools, go for it. In the meantime, let me just give you a little update on what's going on. Technical difficulties, give me 1 minute. All right, well, last year we announced the South Brooklyn Engineering Pipeline, which was PS 188 Birdie in Coney Island, IS 281 Cavallero, IS 228 Booty, and Rachel Carson High School and Grady High School. Now, what happened was everybody started saying, all the other schools kept saying, well, what about us? What about us? What about us? So I basically went to the Brooklyn Borough President and Bennett Baruch, the Capital Grants Director, and I said, listen, guys, you probably can't give $500,000 to each school to create a state-of-the-art, very large lab that everybody can use. So I designed a smaller lab. It's basically a mini engineering lab, and it really doesn't cost that much money. It's only about $100,000 to $150,000, and it's going to do the same thing as the NYU $10 million lab. Let's give Eric Adams a round of applause for that. The only difference is I'm going to have less equipment in each school. Now, many principals are here today, okay? Rosemary is here, right? Robert is here. I've been going around to all the schools getting everything ready. Let me tell you the pipelines that we're going to be doing. Now, before I tell you the pipelines that we're going to be doing, you have to know that not all the pipelines are finished yet. But most of them are. About 75% have at least one elementary school, one junior high school, 1 to 3 high schools, and then, of course, coming into Kingsborough Community College's engineering program, which is really only a 2-year pre-engineering program, and then, of course, pushing everybody, if they want to go, to City Tech, City College, Cornell, Columbia. In fact, one of my students, Max, just went into Columbia. That's like 1 out of every 10,000, get into Columbia directly from my engineering program. So let me tell you the names of the pipelines. Again, not all of them are finished, but most of them are finished. We got the South Brooklyn Engineering Pipeline. We got the Central Brooklyn Engineering Pipeline with Senator Hamilton. By the way, the South Brooklyn Engineering Pipeline was Chaim Deutsch, Mark Traeger, Senator Golden, Assemblywoman Pamela Harris, Simbowitz, Assemblyman, also over there. The Central Brooklyn Pipeline is with Senator Hamilton. We got the Bensonhurst Engineering Pipeline, Bay Ridge Engineering Pipeline, Dyker Heights, Park Slope, Sunset Park, Canarsie, East Flatbush, Bushwick, Midwood, and finally Digital Girls and the Bergen Beach Engineering Pipeline. Let's give it up for Principal Cusimano. Where are you? Very good. All right, we also have some new collaborators. We have Police Athletic League here. Where's Marcel? Marcel, stand up. Okay. We have also the Boy Scouts. Where is Mr. Olvet? Right over there. Oh, there he is. Okay, so we'll be partnering with Police Athletic League and the Boy Scouts. They helped us today. Police Athletic League gave us the 85 chairs. Give them a round of applause. The Boy Scouts helped us with the Pine Derby race. And I have a big surprise for you. All of the students in the engineering pipeline are going to be required to learn about the healthy school food program that Borough President Adams is pushing out. Guaranteed. Now, we can't force them to eat properly, but we can at least teach them. I've already made a test, and all the students want to do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good job. Good job. Remember you came in to see us, you know.
I remember the first time.
That's right. We're moving
great.
forward.
Yes.
And, you know, you said something that's important. Access to information is not about compelling people to do something, but it's about giving them information so they can make intelligent decisions as they move through life. That's what it's about. And so, Stephen, let's get everyone together. We like taking this group photo with all of...
In addition to the press conference, the Borough President and others were able to see some of the funding in action and the STEAM engineering pipeline curriculum, as well as its mobile lab that takes the learning out to the community as well as the classroom.
And I even 3D printed the wheels. It goes on top. Now, what is it teaching the kids? Well, the kids got to use specs. They got to use the Boy Scout specs, which is a great idea, right? This is 2 1/4 inches. This is 7 inches. This is 3/4 here. This is a 1/2 inch here. It's not so easy to measure everything. And by the way, look how it fits. Look, and I can put a motor in it. I made it componential. If I want, I can put a motor in it later on. So I can do gravity fed if I want. I have a whole curriculum that I'm writing at Kingsborough, and I'm experimenting with my Kingsborough students. They don't even know. Uh-oh, the cat's out of the bag. They don't know. They've been doing all the projects for me.
3, 2, 1.
It started out with, well, we had the basic design, right? How can we make it a little more front heavy? How can we make it so that gravity will pull it a little more? And now after we see this, okay, we share the times with the students. Okay, why did this one go faster? Why did this one not quite make it down the track as fast as the other ones? And then they can figure out what to add, what to subtract.
That concludes this edition of One Brooklyn. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on One Brooklyn, presented by Brooklyn Borough President Eric L. Adams.
All right, let me show you how this is working, right? This is going to be the Mobile Engineering Lab that Senator Golden, the Brooklyn Borough President, and I put together.